Let's look at some economic data coming in from US. The factory activity contracted for the straight 8th month in June, and it slipped to the weakest level in more than 3 years as production, employment and input prices retreated. But the price pressures at the factory gate continue to deflate, which proves a silver lining for the country's economy. Meanwhile, the shrinking activity has left the factories resorting to layoffs.
And shifting focus to China, where it has announced export controls on 2 rare metals essential for the manufacturing of semiconductors over security concerns. This comes after Beijing and Washington tussle over the global market for chips. It is known that exports of gallium and germanium, which are majorly produced metals by China, will require a license from August.
And after robust deliveries from Tesla, its Chinese rival XPeng also reported a big jump in its June deliveries. The company delivered over 23,000 cars in the second quarter of 2023, logging a 27% Q-on-Q rise. Now, this surpassed the company's own delivery forecast of between 21,000 and 22,000 units, which was still lower than the figure delivered in the second quarter of last year.
And Twitter witnessed a massive outrage after Elon Musk announced a new reading limit for the platform for new non-verified and verified paid users from accessing a limited number of tweets per day. Due to the new policy, Twitterati started to migrate to similar platforms like Blue Sky, which witnessed all-time high traffic, and the platform temporarily stopped the sign-up process to resolve the issue.
Protest and demonstration in France have entered 7th day. The protesters have reportedly rammed a car into the home of the mayor of a town after a 17-year-old was shot dead by the police. The incident has reignited debate over the policing in marginalized communities. We explain what is going on in the country.
Let's talk about France. France is a country on the edge. For the 6th consecutive day now, protests, arson, they've continued to rage across several cities in the country. Those protests were triggered by the death of a teenager who was shot by the police at point-blank range. And those flare-ups we've seen, they refuse to die down in France. In the latest, rioters have attacked a mayor's house, even as cities like Marseille and Lyon and Nice and Strasbourg and several others remain tense after those clashes with police. In the capital of the country, in Paris, police have arrested around 194 people. Over 3,000 people have been detained across France in a bid to rein in riots and arson across the country. And for the 2nd consecutive day, buses and trams in the capital will remain out of service after 9 o'clock in the evening local time. At the heart of these current protests in France is the fatal police shooting of a 17-year-old teenager named Nahel in suburban Paris. And reports say that the teenager was apprehended by the French police for driving a car without a license. The police asked Nahel and the 2 passengers who were accompanying him to stop the vehicle at a traffic light. But the driver didn't stop. He ran through the red light, after which a policeman shot at Nahel, resulting in his death, which has caused this massive flare-up. The fatal police shooting has put the spotlight on this controversial 2017 law that regulates gun use by the French police. This 2017 law had been adopted after a series of extremist attacks, including the infamous Charlie Hebdo attack. The law allows police officers in France to shoot at a vehicle when a driver fails to comply with an order and when it is likely to endanger the lives of others. Before that law was introduced, police officers had to prove self-defense to justify gun usage. Studies in the recent past indicate that there is a correlation between a change in law in 2017 and the rise in fatal police shootings. According to a research by Sébastien Rocher, Paul Lederf and Simon Varenne, the police shooting in France has surged by 25% since the adoption of this 2017 law. And only last year, 13 people had been killed in police shootings after failing to comply with orders during these traffic stops. So this year, 3 people, and that includes Nahel. They've died in similar circumstances, and it raises several questions on the trigger-happy nature of the police in France. Across the world, there are 19 countries.
Well, it is that time of the